The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your SuperChats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
Take two for those who saw the first show that featured a major tech issue. Today, we're going to talk about the New York Jets position groups. Andrew Fialkow from JetsXFactor.com has assigned a grade for every single group on the New York Jets. OTAs begin next week, so there's a lot to talk about. We got a new intro. Cover your ears. It's Lowski and Fireman Ed. Let's hit it and get it started.
Man, our Jets are primed for a historic season.
The Jets win the Super Bowl. We on top of the damn universe. Our championship will mean more than any of them cheating Belichick ass Patriots.
You ain't lying there.
We got the best defense in the league. We got the best quarterback in the league. I don't give a damn what nobody say. Don't nobody want to see the Jets. Jets.
The king has spoken. The king has spoken.
We bleed Jets green each and every day. This is not the same old Jets. We have Aaron freaking Rodgers. We have Garrett Wilson. Let's go. We have Breece Hall. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super Chat, baby. Cut the line. We have Sauce Gardner. We have Quinnen Williams. The Jets bandwagon is loaded. Now it's time to talk all things New York Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show.
Here we go. Welcome in, everybody. We got a lot to talk about. Hit the like button if you're tuned in live. And once again, shout out to Fireman Ed, who came on the show yesterday. Epic moment between him and our king Lowski, to end the show. So check out the Fireman Ed interview if you haven't. Joining me right now in his weekly spot to talk all things New York Jets. And today, give us a comprehensive breakdown on the state of the roster is the great Andrew Fialkow. Andrew, always appreciate your time, man. Thanks for dealing with some tech issues we just had and making it through.
Yeah, no problem. Me and Bobby were talking in the private chat while that was going on, so got to catch up with him. Yeah, amped to go. I feel like we're May 17th, so we're close. Like, I feel like once the schedule releases, everyone's like, damn, like how are we about to wait like 3.5 months? And I totally agree. I'm going to have a hard time, but once OTAs start and then we're a month or so from training camp, I feel like after that point, once we get to like June, late July, training camp will start. We're going to be moving and grooving. Before we know it, preseason ball will be here.
Yeah, I always have this conundrum because I love football. It's my favorite sport. Football season's the best, but I also love summer. So I don't want to like snap my fingers and summer's over, especially now living back in New York where I have a real winter for the first time in 6 years. But man, I can't wait for football season. And the Jets schedule only gets you more excited because of the amount of standalone games they have. I mean, 7 standalone games the first 11 weeks. The home opener is going to be insane on Thursday Night Football against the Patriots. So let's kind of start with the schedule because it's the first time I've had you on since it came out the other night. I'll put it up on the screen. Give us some takes on the Jets schedule here.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you remember, Jake? I don't know if it was the last time I was on or the time before I was on. I said I kind of leaked the Niners Monday night game.
You did.
Yeah, which I was not. Now that it was right, I hopefully no one sees that. But yeah, I like the schedule. Personally, I'm not that happy that we're away the first 2 weeks, but I know we have that little section. Does it mean if it's dark? If it's green, it means it's home. So yeah, we have this little like November 17th, then the bye, and then is that what it means? That's a home game, right?
So home is in green, away is in black on this screen right here.
Yeah. I like that we have this little area, week 11 and week 13, where we have a bye in between and we're home those 2 weeks. Just opponent-wise to start the year, I feel like there's going to be a bit of pressure on us because if let's say we lose week 1, I don't see a losable game really until week 6. Just like roster standpoints, like talent-wise, we shouldn't have an issue with the Titans. We shouldn't have an issue with the Pats. We shouldn't have an issue with the Broncos. Like the quarterback play there it's going to be Will Levis. versus Rodgers, Drake May versus Rodgers, Bo Nix versus Rodgers, and J.J. McCarthy versus Rodgers. So if you want to just dumb football down to the most important position in sports, which is QB, we have the upper hand there. So looking at it, I would envision a 4-1 start, and then I like our chances against Buffalo this year. I like our chances in the division overall. Like we've spoken about it, I think we go 4-2 minimum in the division. And closing the year at home, I also love. I'm like, because I don't think we've done that in like 4 or 5 years, which will be really nice. That could be a huge game, being that it's in the division. I don't like that we're facing the NFC West. I'm higher on the NFC West than I feel like other people are, because some of my buddies were like not so upset with that. I think the Seahawks and the Cardinals and the Rams are all good teams. I'd much rather face like the NFC East, obviously. But just first glance, again, schedule or not, opponents or whatever they are, 10 to 12 wins, like 10 wins minimum. I just can't see the team healthy-wise not winning at least 10 games.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And look, week 1 is as challenging as any game. But as we talked about, if you're going to play the Niners, your best chance of probably beating them in their building is the week 1. It's always a weird week anyway. And the Jets would be healthy then. The Niners maybe have a Super Bowl hangover. Like, you take your chances. And then after that, I mean, look, Will Levis, Drake May / Jacoby Brissett, Bo Nix, Sam Darnold or J.J. McCarthy. Like, you don't just have a slightly better quarterback advantage there. You have a significantly better QB advantage, and you're at home for 2 of those games. 4-1 should be the goal for the Jets going into that first really litmus test mark of the season against the Buffalo Bills on Monday Night Football, right? Like the Bills, I don't know their beginning of the schedule. I haven't looked yet, but to me, like if the Jets are the team we think they are, they're 4-1 or better going into that October 14th showdown on Monday night.
For sure. And I mean, it's crazy how many primetime games we have, but we got to remember who's the king of primetime. It's Rodgers. I think Rodgers is undefeated on Monday Night Football. Rodgers has always been great throughout his career in primetime games. So like, I feel like some people, non-Jet fans on Twitter are like, oh my God, like so annoying that the NFL love the Jets. Like, that's fine. We'll see what's up if we stay healthy. What's up? Because we're not going to be losing many of those primetime games. So they could talk all the what they want. We're gonna be fine. And like you said, the first real test after the Niners is maybe you could have the argument that you go to Minnesota. It's a test, even though I'm sure Rodgers has probably owned them throughout his career.
It's in London too, so it's not even in Minnesota. So it's a neutral site game. Yeah,
right in Minnesota. I mean in London. So yeah, that's gonna be that's gonna be an interesting game. Yeah, 6 primetime games. I like our chances in every single one of them. Besides, like, I don't love our chances week 1. I still think it's a very winnable game. Every game we should be going in thinking we could win against any team because of the roster we have. Pats, I don't need to speak about that really. Bills, we've had their number. I feel like this is a very winnable game. Steelers are a tough team. Like they always play well. I'm not that in tune with what they did over the offseason. I know obviously Russ is likely going to start that game, so I'm not too afraid of Russ at this point of his career. We got to remember it's not only about Rodgers. Our roster, like we're going to go over overall, is I can't see it not being top 5 in the NFL. Like it just the amount of talent we have on this roster. That's why every time we talk about it, it's either injuries or coaching that could only hold us back. It's not going to be the construction that Joe Douglas has made out of this roster.
I'm right there with you. And look, if the Jets are the team we think they are, there's some challenges on the schedule, but there's always going to be challenges on every schedule. If you're a good team, you figure out a way to get it done. There's some saying, oh, well, the Jets got to play 3 games in 10 days to start the year. You'd rather play that at the beginning of the year than in the middle of the year when you're banged up and your body's taking a toll. In theory, if you were going to play the amount of games the Jets have to play at the beginning of the year, you'd line it up where after the Niners, you get your toughest game out of the way. You then face a stretch of quarterbacks where you feel really good about you having by far and away the best player on the field at that position. And more times than not, this is what the NFL has become. The better quarterback usually wins the game. Not always. We've seen the Jets pull off some upsets with Zach Wilson at quarterback, but more times than not, the better quarterback wins the game. And you're surrounding Aaron Rodgers, as we're about to talk about here, with a stacked roster.
Completely agree. Completely agree with the you'd much rather play 3-10 like to start the year. Like we don't want that in the last week of the season or anything like that. 1, 2, the London game being like I guess we chose not to have the bye after that, which I'm okay with.
Yeah, I like the bye later in the year.
I think the bye later in the year is really helpful, especially with our team, which like we have so many guys that get injured and dinked up. Also, we have to remember we have these Thursday night games. It's a huge like mini bye for these players. Like you get Friday, Saturday, Sunday, then they'll probably go back in on Monday. It's like a nice mini bye. As bad as it is to go from Sunday to Thursday, that week is really, really a small, like abbreviated thing, what they do, like preparation wise. It's walkthroughs, it's not real practices. So you just it's like talent on talent there, really. So Thursday night against the Pats, I love that because they're going to be on a short week. We're on a short week. You don't really implement so much game plan wise. I've heard many coaches say that just because you don't have enough time. And then honestly, Houston at home, we kind of put a little bit of a script out to stop Stroud last year. Although I don't remember, was it raining that game? Was it kind of bad weather?
The weather was bad. They also, it was their first game playing without Tank Dell. Nico Collins got hurt early in that game. Dalton Schultz did. It was a weird game. That being said, people talk about, oh, how could the Jets play Thursday Night Football twice? Well, I'll tell you what, if you're going to play Thursday Night Football twice, you better hope that they're at home. And both the home games on the slate for Thursday night are at MetLife. That is a big deal.
Very true. Yeah, you don't want that. That's even more brutal to travel on the Wednesday. And then, yeah, I completely agree with that. So I think that's a blessing in disguise as well. But the schedule is what it is to me. I like we went over. It's about us. It's really like it's come down to it's about us. It's not really about the opponent. We have a team that every single game we should be in this game. We should not see one blowout this year. I can't even anticipate that. Our offense is stacked. And our defense, if our offense ever has an off game, our defense will keep us in the game. And if our offense is having a great game, I mean, if our defense has an off game, then our roster is prepared to go into a shootout. And that's not something we've said in the prior years. So we're ready to be in any type of game this year.
Yep. I mean, look, no excuse. And I'll give you another stat here that Warren Sharp tweeted out. Jets will likely face 3 straight rookie quarterbacks early in the season, with every rookie quarterback playing away from his home stadium. Week 3, Jets host Drake May. Week 4, Jets host Bo Nix. Week 5 in London, Jets host J.J. McCarthy. The last decade, rookie quarterbacks are 36 and 76 in weeks 1 through 5. That is a 32.5 winning percentage. So if they face some rookies there with this defense and Aaron Rodgers, that needs to be a win every time. And that's how the schedule is actually set up for the Jets to get out to a good start. There's some tough games late, but you know what? You're getting Miami at home to end the year. Beat them. You get Miami in December in their building. You don't have to deal with the heat. That's a huge advantage for them early in the season. There are a lot of things about the schedule I like. Not everything is perfect. It never will be. But anyone using the schedule as an excuse is just having the wrong mentality. This team should be able to handle their business if they're truly the team we think they are.
Yeah. And the only point I have on that is I feel like last year when the schedule came out, everyone was like, oh, everyone thought it was like a lot easier of a schedule. So now that we saw the schedule this year, like, oh, they had to play 3 in 10 days and the bye is late and we're playing a lot of good teams. Well, yeah, we're a good team also, though. So it's nothing to shy away from. I think we're going to have some notable wins, and we could, like I said, we're going to be in every game this year. Like, there's no team that is on their schedule saying like, wow, that's going to be a cakewalk when they see us.
Well said. Hit the like button if you're tuned in live right now. So we debuted a brand new intro for this very show after the incredible moment between Fireman Ed and King Lowski. So King Lowski decided to make it rain, Andrew. How about 10 Asmaniac memberships being gifted? We're just gonna play this on loop for a moment and acknowledge our king. Yeah, let's go, King. Here are the following 10 listeners who are officially channel members, officially Asmaniacs now, because of the incredible gesture by the King. For those who don't know, that's $50 spent for fellow members, 10 memberships. Jason, Razor Motion, Dana Russell, Eric Kelly, BLK Jesus, Wyland_book, Howie from Jets HQ, Braden NZL, Zach Tendler, Kareem Mitchell, and 24 NY Jets 31 all have received channel memberships. But wait, that's not all. How about Addison gifting 5 and then another 5 set of channel memberships, baby? Let's go. Yeah. All right. If you hear your name called, you have received a channel membership from Addison, Sean Mahoney, Sharp Instincts, Robert D. That's Rob from Glenhead, baby. Victory Monday, Stu Lowy. And then the next group of 5 from Addison, Antonio Ambroso, K9 Cohen. That's No Ghost, Tim Johnson, and NY Jets Superfan. That's 20 memberships handed out within the first 15 minutes of today's show. Thank you guys so much for your incredible support. Oh my God, we're not done. Rick Kent getting in on the Friday fun. 5 more memberships. I mean, do we just play this on loop? 5 more. David G, Philip Hannon, Will Cedar, Dr. V-Man, and John B receiving memberships. Shout out to all of you guys for your support. Rick, appreciate you, man. You always get the memberships and super chatting. It really goes a long way. All right, let's get to what we brought you on to do, Andrew. So you wrote a great story on Jets X Factor where you ranked the offensive position groups on the Jets. I'm guessing there's a defensive version of that article coming as well. But for right now, we're going to do everything. If you're a Jet fan, you're getting everything from Andrew right now. So we're going to put up the Our Lads depth chart here, and we're going to go through each position group on offense, defense, and special teams. And Andrew, we're going to have you grade and kind of give us a brief synopsis on each to kind of just exemplify what we've been saying, man. Don't be afraid of no schedule. If this team is the team we think they're supposed to be, then they're going to find a way to win. And that's the bottom line.
Totally.
All right, here we go. So let's pull up right now the official Our Lads depth chart for the New York Jets. It's going to go right up on the screen. Hopefully everyone can see it here. Let me go a little full screen on this. Let me see if that works. There we go. All right, Andrew. So break it down. Do you want to start with the offense or the defense?
Yeah, we could start. I'll just start with the offense. We can start with the QBs. There's not like a ton to say here, but like I think this is as good of a QB room as the Jets have had in a long, long time. We went over it, obviously. Like, it was more than necessary to clear out the room. I mean, the fact that me and you were going over Tim Boyle film last year and like putting it out as content is, we'll look back at that and it'll just be the most insane thing ever done. But Tim Boyle's gone, Zach's gone, and obviously Tyrod is a really good QB too. We never really went over his film, but he's very capable. And like the way I look at it is really has the ability to fill in for a few games and still gives the team a chance to win, which we haven't had in a backup in a long time. He's 14 years in the league. I still think he's a really good deep ball and like has some good playmaking ability. So I was really happy that we signed him. Then for Jordan Travis, again, like love the pick. I think he's in a good spot to sit and learn from 2 veterans.
Hey, Andrew, sorry to cut you off, but we have Nick. We have Nick, like just legendary, that is currently tuned into the show. I want to give some love to Stefan Marbury, who's watching the show. His Twitter handle, I am Peace Star. You can see he's in the chat. He's watching on X. He says, thanks for coming out last night. Love my brother, Steph. Thanks to you for having us. For those who don't know, Stefan just launched a brand new eyewear line, sunglass line. All right. It's called Camelo Eyewear. So it's already linked in that interview that I posted on the channel with Steph that aired on my Mad Dog show on Sirius last night. But shout out to Stefan Marbury. Let's go, Nick, Steph, who's watching the show. I saw him in there. I'm like, wait a second. That can't be the Stefan Marbury tuned in. And it is. So thanks so much for having us, Steph. And thanks again for coming on the show. And obviously good luck with the sunglass line. And let's go, Knicks, baby. I'm ready for tonight. Game 6.
If Steph's still on here, huge fan. I bought his I remember like standing out line when I was I don't remember when his shoe line came out, but I must have been so young. I was like, we need to go like wait for his shoes. I remember vividly waiting to get his shoes. So Nick, legend, much respect. That's unreal. Love you, Steph.
CBA legend too, Chinese Basketball Association. The Shanghai Sharks, I believe, was Steph's team. I mean, just obviously Coney Island native, phenomenal player, 3rd pick in the draft. Everyone knows the Marbury story, and I was right there with you, Andrew. I told Steph this the other night. I was waiting at the Hicksville Mall with my dad at Stephen and Barry's, because that's where they were sold, to get the Starberries when they first got released in like 06, 07.
Right. I was like 7 years old when that happened. So I was like begging my parents, I need to go get these shoes. Like I had no idea what was going on, but yeah, that's awesome. Really cool.
So
yeah.
Hope you're still watching, Steph. Thanks again, but we'll get you back on the show again soon, and hopefully the Knicks keep winning, so we're all in a good mood. All right, sorry to cut you off there, Andrew, but obviously you're breaking down the quarterback room. I mean, just give us a grade. They have Rodgers and Tyrod. I don't think you're finding a better backup, and it comes down to what version of Aaron Rodgers do you think the Jets are getting? If you think they're getting a very good version of Rodgers, then I don't see how the grade wouldn't be incredibly high for this position group here.
Right. That's my exact thought process. The room lives and dies by the health of Rodgers. I'm maybe in the minority. I don't think as Jet fans I'm in the minority, but just from what I've read, I think he's going to come back and be above average. So the room's an A to me. Like this is the first time that I've ever felt this way about the QB room, but I think it's an A. I think it's flawless. I think it's built out really well with a young guy that's going to be able to sit one of the best backup QBs you could have in the NFL. And then Rodgers, who I think is going to come back to be like top 8 to 10 for him as a quarterback. I really don't see him like not being a top 8 to 10 quarterback for this season.
Absolutely. I think you're going to get, as long as he's healthy, top 10 quarterback play. I don't see a world where Aaron Rodgers is not a good quarterback in the NFL. Maybe he's not winning MVPs, but like, remember the year he had in Green Bay, the year before he won the back-to-back MVPs, where like his touchdown total was down, but he threw like 2 interceptions all year. He was still really efficient. And people were like, oh, has he lost a step? And he's like, oh yeah. And then he won the MVP. If he's just that, which I think is very realistic, pull up this 2019 statistics. Like if he does that for the Jets, I feel like this team with their defense and the weapons around him is in very good shape.
I completely agree. And one thing he always says on his podcast that like it really will hit with you is like there's some things that just never leave. It's your brain and he always says it's my mental and it's my arm. He's like I'm going to be able to throw the ball like I throw it now until I'm 60. So then it's really on like, hey, are we going to be able to scheme protection to give him 2.5 seconds? And if we do, it's just he's too smart and his arm has too much talent. Like that those are two of the most important traits as a quarterback. I could make an argument for him to be comeback player of the year and a top 5 QB if I really get into it. So
Rodgers stats in 2019. Passer rating 95.4, 4,000 yards, 26 touchdowns, 4 interceptions in 16 games. Selected to play in his 8th Pro Bowl. I mean, 4,000 yards. It's only been done once by a Jet quarterback. It was Namath in a 14-game season, which makes it even more historic. Right. Rodgers, 26 touchdowns that year, which people are like, only 26. Well, Breece Hall is the offensive player of the year. Maybe he doesn't need to have 35, 40 touchdowns thrown. Like that to me is a realistic expectation for Rodgers. Maybe he throws more than just 4 picks because that's insane, because he's trying to get on the same page with a lot of new players. But like you tell me Aaron Rodgers gives you a 2019 season, which wasn't an MVP season, but it was still very good. I think the Jets would sign for that right now.
They definitely would. Again, it's just about the team staying healthy around him. Like the roster just doesn't have many holes. It doesn't. And we haven't been able to say that in so long. But if he's healthy, like we've been saying, it's 10 to 12 wins, in my opinion, at 10 easily on the schedule.
Gonzo cuts the line with a super chat. So Andrew gave quarterbacks an A. We'll get to the next grade coming up here. This super chat coming through. This team's legit 11-6. Let's go. Offense should be legit. Defense top 5. Can't wait to see Rodgers play some snaps. He and AVT stay healthy. 09 September. Can't come sooner. Love your content, Jay. Gonzo, appreciate you, man. Thanks for the support. It goes a long way, man. The super chats, they pay the bills. Patreon subscribers, the channel memberships. You guys have allowed me to build this channel and make it a real business. So couldn't do it without all of you. All right, Andrew. So we did quarterbacks here. I'm going to go not full screen, but big screen here with the Our Lads depth chart again. Let's do running backs next. Give us a grade for the running back room, which has been revamped through the draft.
Yeah. There's actually this great tweet that I found from this guy, Jacob Gibbs. And it's just about Breece Hall since entering the NFL. He's first in yards after contact per rush and first in yards per route run. Now, we know how I felt last year. I think if people were watching, I was begging Hackett to put him out wide, begging him to get used in the screen game more, just because we didn't have enough receivers. So I was like, Breece is an unreal route runner, especially for a running back. So I think Breece has real potential to have over 2,000 all-purpose yards this year. Like, I don't know if there's an over-under in Vegas for that, but I think it's like a very realistic that he could have 13 to 1,500 rushing yards and like 500 to 700 receiving yards. He's going to be a focal point in the offense. Really, just don't envision him like the steps that Brees and Garrett are going to be able to take with a healthy O-line and a healthy Rodgers. Like, we thought Garrett was good last year and the year before. I'm telling you, with Rodgers now, it's going to be like he's going to finally get spoken about as like a top 10 receiver with like easy clarity for that. So I'm really excited for both of those guys to have like a real good team around them. But just about the running back room in general, I really do like Braylon Allen. I think Isaiah Davis, I was kind of confused by the pick at the time, but I have a feeling that Izzy might not make the roster, or that might be a competition there. It feels like the room could use a veteran is kind of what I thought about it. But again, I don't want a veteran to come in and take many reps from Brees anyway. And we know how the Jets were just like they were like waiting to get Brees back involved last year, and it took a little bit of time. I don't think Brees needs to be on like a snap count anymore. I don't think there's any way he would be. So you imagine he is 70%, 75% of the snaps, and then Braylon, Izzy, and Isaiah Davis will mix in there. I think Braylon Allen is going to be really good as like a change of pace type guy. He gives me a bit of a bruiser type vibe. He could get some hard yards after contact. And I really think that they both fit the power / like gap scheme that it seems like we're going to. Because they in Wisconsin they ran that, and I always forget where Isaiah Davis went. It was North Dakota State? No, it was
I think it was South Dakota State. Isaiah Davis, South Dakota State. Yep.
Yeah. They ran a lot of power and gap scheme stuff there, so they're both scheme fits. Again, the only reason why this group I didn't give them an A is because of the depth behind them. Is just like two rookies and like someone, just a bunch of unproven guys. But Brees enough is I gave the group an A- because I think Brees is a top 3 running back in the NFL, and like I said, I don't envision him not having 2,000 all-purpose yards this year. I think that he'll easily eclipse that.
Stay healthy and watch Brees Hall win Offensive Player of the Year. He has that type of talent.
For sure.
Big fella, super chat, cuts the line. We'll do the wide receivers next, but Big fella writes in, toughest game on the schedule, in my opinion, is the Steelers game. Really? I don't know about that one. I don't know. I was playing quarterback for them by then. Andrew, which do you like more, Lunchables or Dino Nuggets?
These guys, man. I'll never catch a break. I really never ate Lunchables. Dino Nuggets was like a staple. I would eat Dino Nuggets tonight for dinner if I could. Big fan of Dino Nuggets.
Lane Train writes in, how do you feel, or do you like Dalvin Cook?
No.
Okay.
As a person,
he seems like a nice guy.
Yeah.
Lane also wants to know, how do you feel about the Jets?
Feeling great. Very, very happy and excited for the season.
You feel good?
Yeah.
Good. Glad you do. All right.
Oh, man.
Let's get back to receivers now, shall we? Break down the wide receiver room, a room that has been revamped. Here we go. All the receivers listed according to our lads. I'm going to ignore some of the practice squad guys, but these are the main 6 right here, right? We'll do Mike Williams, Garrett Wilson, Malachi Corley. Those are the 3 listed receivers. Garrett Williams on the outside. So Garrett Wilson, Mike Williams on the outside, of course, and then Malachi Corley already listed according to our lads as the starting slot receiver.
Yeah. See, I'm going to be upset about it. I think Jet fans will be upset about it. I don't think he's going to start this year. Like, to start the year, I don't think he's going to start. I don't know. I think Gibson maybe will. I would love Corley to start right away. I'm obviously a huge fan of Corley. We went over all his film, and he fits so well with Garrett and Mike Williams. We've finally gotten like an 11 personnel grouping that they complement each other so well. Malachi is going to be really good in the offense just to get the ball out quick. We know Rodgers, as his careers went on, he loves getting the ball out quick. Malachi is going to be able to turn a 2-yard gain into a 12-yard gain, a 5 into a 15, a 10 into a 20. That's what it showed all over his film, and I'm very confident that he'll end up doing that. I just don't know how soon they're gonna like be giving him the slot reps like fully. But Gibson's like serviceable. So if they split at first, that's fine. Again, we don't really know what Lazard's going to be in this offense this year. If he's going to play at all, if he's going to be active on game days, I think is up for debate because he's not playing special teams. So they'd much rather have a guy like Irvin Charles out there who's actually going to contribute and play. So I don't know if he even dresses. Love Garrett, Mike, and Malachi as our 3 receiver set. I'm so in on it. And obviously, another big X factor is if Mike is going to be ready for week 1. If the team, if it's healthy, I give it like a B grade just because we're one injury away from having to start Alan Lazard or maybe even Xavier Gibson. The depth is a bit concerning to me. That's all it is to me. If you told me that Mike Williams, Garrett Wilson, and Malachi Corley played every game, I would think this group is like a A-. But it's just hard to project health for all of them, especially with Mike coming off that injury. I don't even know if he's going to be ready for week 1. But I think Corley and Gibson will be fighting for the slot reps. And then I think by week 6 or 7, Corley will be starting for good.
Okay, so you got the grade on the receivers there. I think, of course, to your point, if Corley's unbelievable, the grade's a lot higher when we look back on this. You don't know what necessarily you're getting from a rookie.
Right. That's why I said a B because, like, it's too, like, Mike Williams' health is a bit up in the air, and then Corley's a rookie. So, like, it's hard to project if he's going to have a huge role, especially because we already have a lot of mouths to feed. We have Garrett, we have Conklin, we have Brees, Mike if he's healthy. So, there's like he's going to be struggling for targets, I feel like, at some points. But yeah, I would love him to start from the jump. I'm really high on him. And yeah, I see someone said don't sleep on Brownlee. I loved Brownlee last year. I was begging for him to start over Lazard. Again, I think he's going to have trouble finding reps just if we stay healthy. But I mean, if Mike Williams goes down, I would much rather have Brownlee as our X receiver than Alan Lazard. So
I agree. Look, anything you get from Lazard's a bonus. Hopefully he's got some pride and he's in shape and he's ready to go, but he should not be handed anything. Like his last season was such a disgrace. It should not be handed to him at all.
Well, did you see that article Connor Hughes wrote that they don't know what to do with him because like they can't cut him. But I think he said also he was like, I wouldn't be surprised if he was inactive on some game days.
Yeah, I mean he's this team's version of what Kenny Galladay was for the Giants.
Yep. Exactly. The only saving grace we have is that him and Rodgers had some success together in the past. So you hope that maybe they could rekindle that, but I don't know.
Before we get to O-line and your grade, J-Quest writes in, Andrew, honestly, when is prom? Would love to drive the limo.
Man, like they're getting me nostalgic now because I wish I was 18. I'm not 18. Prom was a blast, but I'm not 18 anymore, brother.
I went to prom twice. I had such a great time.
That's
second time not nearly as fun. All right, let's do the offensive line here. Let me get us a shot where we can see the whole thing. So we're not gonna like grade each position on the line. Just give us your breakdown on the totality of the whole unit here. So from left to right, the projected starters are Tyron Smith, backed up of course by first round draft pick Olu Fashanu, left guard John Simpson, center Joe Tippmann, right guard Elijah Vera Tucker, right tackle Morgan Moses. Give us your breakdown.
Yeah, again, healthy, love it. And even if a couple injuries, we know Tyron Smith's going to miss a few games, and we have Olu who's going to be able to fill in. And look, may struggle at some points, but again, the room that he's going into is Tyron Smith and Morgan Moses. It's an elite tackle room. He's going to learn a ton. He's going to get some game time this year, 100%. I mean, Olu's stats speak for himself. He had his 2.6% pressure rate in college. He gave up 0 sacks, 0 hits, and 10 hurries in 2023 by itself. Obviously, we spoke about his run blocking as a bit of a place where you need some improvement. But besides that, I'm a huge fan of AVT, as everyone should be. The only thing that slowed him down is injuries, and they've been, to be honest, a couple fluke injuries. Like torn triceps is extremely unlucky. I don't think in college he had a history of injuries. And I'm a huge fan of AVT and also a big fan of Tippmann. I think Tippmann's shown a lot of promise at center. And as long as the group's healthy, I'd give it like an A minus. I think if Tyron Smith missed 4 games while like Tippmann, AVT, and Moses only missed a handful, I think this group's going to be a home run, especially as opposed to years in the past. Tyron Smith obviously is a huge X factor. You really want your blindside tackle to be healthy and play majority of the games. But if he misses a few, Olu will come in. It's just about Tyron Smith being healthy for the playoff push. That's the way I think about it. You'd hope he plays 12 to 14 games in the regular season. But if our O-line is what you said it was, the projection as the starters, if 4 of the 5 of them were there, and maybe 5 of 5 if we get lucky for the playoffs, I'll be okay with and really excited about.
I think the most important player on offense for the New York Jets, besides the obvious Aaron Rodgers, you could probably argue is Tyron Smith. Like, how many games does he play? He was second team All-Pro last year in 13 games. I think you'd sign for that right now if you're the Jets. Completely
agree. You mind? Can I go piss quickly?
Of course.
I never had to do this before in the mid-show.
Ladies and gentlemen, Andrew Fialkow is leaving us.
Look at me.
We can still hear him because I didn't turn off his mic. Now I have. All right. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, we've all been there. Hit the like button if you're tuned in right now. We'll get back to Andrew in a moment. Hey, I got an underdog pick 'em for all of you guys. Underdog Fantasy is running an awesome special right now. When you use promo code Asman when you sign up, they're giving you a 50% deposit match up to $250. So take full advantage. And here are some picks for all my fellow Knicks and Yankee fans tonight who want to win some money here. Aaron Judge, higher than a half a walk. Jalen Brunson, higher than 29.5 points. This is too low. Brunson's been averaging 35 a game against Indiana, including 44 the other night. Isaiah Hartenstein, 17 boards the other night, higher than 10.5 rebounds tonight in Game 6. Knicks will get it done tonight. Aaron Judge will walk. You'll win money. Promo code Asman. Sign up. 50% deposit match with Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you guys use that code Asman so you take full advantage of their specials. All right. Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. Public service announcement. Lane Kerner, the Lane train, wrote in. We need a Lane and Bobby call-in. Lane, if you are watching, I can make that happen the second you call in. So it is in your hands, Lane Kerner. We will have the ultimate meeting of the minds if you could call in. So it's in your hands, Lane. Hit the like button if you're tuned in live right now. Shout out to Shurzy, who writes in. First live stream in a while, and it breaks down from down under. Go Jets. Yeah, we had tech issues on the first stream with Andrew, so this is the second one. Glad you're listening from down under. Maybe you and Craig should hang out. Craig from Australia. He's still probably in the air somewhere right now, flying back from his U.S. trip. Beth Page Chris writes in, as a teacher, it's bittersweet when football season starts. Yeah, I get that. I love football season, but you don't want to rush summer. Especially if you're in the tri-state where summer's so important. I've been in Houston where it's basically warm weather year-round. Cali Jet says, hit the like button. Amen. All right, joining us, fresh from his trip to drain the sea monster, is Andrew Fialkow. Hello, Andrew.
Yes, I'm back.
All right. Are you ready for defense?
Yes, sir. Oh, wait.
Okay.
We didn't do tight ends if you want to do that quickly.
Oh, you're right. What was the grade for the O-line again? I forget.
I said A minus. Again, like
Fair.
A lot of these grades are a contingency on the health. But, yeah, health-wise, it's a home run.
All right. Tight ends. Quickly break down the tight end room that right now features not Brock Bowers, Gary, but it does feature Tyler Conklin. It also features Jeremy Ruckert, Kenny Yeboah, and Zach Kuntz.
Interesting group. I don't even have like a ton to say about them. I think Conklin's going to have a really good year with Rodgers, if I'm being honest. I think he has like a lot of ability to show that he's better than he was last year, even though I think he was really underrated last year. Ruckert needs to take a step forward. I definitely think that Ruckert has to make that year 3 leap, and especially as like a run blocker. I think we need to have him in 12 personnel sets, be able to block well. And then if you get anything from Yeboah or Kuntz, it's like a plus. I think the room's like a B minus, maybe a B. But I think Rodgers will elevate them. So that's also like within the grade.
Notice every single grade you've handed out is a B or higher, which is like, which to me, if you have an A at quarterback, which the Jets do, like you have a pretty damn good team. You know what I mean? Like that's where it starts.
100%. That's kind of what we've thought the whole offseason. And then now that draft season ended and free agency ended, the depth chart's really there. And you look at it, Mike Clay from the ESPN put out an article today saying the Jets are going to win the Super Bowl. And he wrote in it like something like, I don't see how this roster isn't top 3, maybe the most talented roster in the NFL. So it's not just Jet fans that may be blindly optimistic about it. Like there's reporters out there also that are covering the sport that believe this as well.
They actually did the homework, like instead of just the hot take, Jets, they're bad. They stay bad. You know?
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Fullback, Nick Bawden. I'm just kidding. I don't know if he's even going to make the team. Let's get to the defense now. We'll start with the D-line. All right. This is a revamped room. It's still very good. Obviously, you added, an absolute stud in Hassan Reddick, but he's replacing a guy in Bryce Huff who was very good last year. Of course, John Franklin Myers is not in this room anymore. So grade the entire defensive line room. That includes edge and tackles. The entire room. Give us a grade.
Yeah. And you know what, Jake, if you want to give your grades for the defense too, you're more than welcome. This is tough for me. I think people think this room got worse, which is a fair assessment. I'm a big fan of Hassan Reddick, and I think he can do what Bryce Huff did. I think he could come in. He's a good pressure per snap rate. He finishes. He's had a ton of sacks. I think over 50 in the past 3 or 4 years. We always forget about Quinnen for some. I don't. I feel like he's just not spoken about that much, but he's consistently a top 5 D tackle in the NFL. He's awesome against the run and awesome against the pass. His pressures are always top 10, top 5 at the D tackle position. Then you go to Jermaine, who made a huge jump year 2, like unbelievable jump. And you really hope that maybe McDonald could do the same and follow suit there. But I think Jermaine's going to have another huge year this year. Jermaine and Hassan across from each other, like if it almost feels like if we had JFM instead of Kinlaw, I'd feel like a little bit better about the group. I wasn't the biggest JFM guy. Like I think people liked him a lot more than I did. Kinlaw, I'm a little iffy on. Like it's a 1-year deal, so that is what it is. Maybe Solly will start instead of Kinlaw. I'm not sure, but I think it's a pretty deep group still. I think it's still a pretty deep group.
To me, it comes down to the jump McDonald takes. If McDonald takes a big step forward, like Jermaine did it from year 1 to year 2, this D-line is just as good, if not better, because Reddick's a better player than what we saw last year from Huff, who had a really good year, but Hassan Reddick's been one of the best edge rushers in the league the last 5 years. So, that to me is what it really comes down to. And I actually think Kinlaw is going to be pretty good. I think Saleh has earned the benefit of the doubt from a defensive standpoint, him and his staff. When they want someone, they identify someone they can bring in. They make those guys better. I mean, there's a long list of this. We just saw, Quentin Jefferson get paid $6.5 million for the 1 year he had with the Jets. Huff was a guy they developed. JFM was a guy they obviously developed. Like they have a good history at this. So I'm actually pretty optimistic about the D-line. I would say it's an A- if I was given a grade.
Right. I was between B+ and A-. And I think also we need to factor in like this big substitutions that they do on the D-line. Like the second 4 players are going to get not significant playing time, but Clemens will see 25% of the snaps. Lecky Fotu will see 20% of the snaps. So if Kinlaw's not cutting it, it won't matter. But look, Kinlaw's surrounded by 3 elite players on the defensive line. So you would hope that will enhance his play also.
100%. All right, let's quickly get through the couple other position groups here on defense. So the linebacker room. Jets don't typically use more than 2 linebackers on the field at the same time. So we're really kind of just grading CJ Mosley and Quincy Williams, who are excellent. Obviously, there is some depth there. I think Jamie and Sherwood actually played pretty well last year in limited opportunities. I know you watched the film. So let's talk about the linebacker room here for the Jets. Where do you grade them?
Yeah. So quickly, just I never want to assume people know things. So I'm sure a lot of people know this. But, yeah, the Jets played nickel, which is with 5 defensive backs on the field for, 70, 80% of the snaps. That's just where everyone plays now because the offenses are in 11 personnel, so they have 3 receivers on the field, so you just match it. So like you said, in like the sub-packages sets, we'll maybe see 3 linebackers, and Sherwood will be in there. But like you said, not much to say here. Quincy's a stud. Like the way they developed him, and he's been able to really like grasp the game more, and like his game speed is as good I've seen. I've never enjoyed watching someone's film on defense more than like Sauce or Quincy's. Like I can't stop watching Quincy, and CJ is unreal. He's so steady for us. He reminds me a bit of Quinnen, where it's a little bit under the radar. Like Quinnen last year to start the year didn't have that many sacks, and people were like complaining about it. Well, there's a lot more to the game than that. Quinnen's taking on double teams a ton. CJ's just, as our Mike linebacker, so our middle linebacker, he's manning the defense. He's calling out the plays. You can't ask for a better tandem. I'm not so knowledgeable in every linebacker tandem in the NFL, but it feels like a top 5 linebacker tandem in Quincy and CJ.
Yep. I'm right there with you. And don't sleep on our guy, Jamian Sherwood.
Yeah.
We love Jamian. All right. Keep going here. So we did edge and tackles. We did the D-line room. We did linebackers. We're just going to do the entire secondary here, unless you got a grade specific for the safety room that you want to share. I mean, if we're just doing corners, I don't know how the Jets are not A+. You got the best corner in the NFL in Sauce. Yeah. You got arguably the best secondary corner in DJ Reed. You got maybe the best nickel slot and Michael Carter. We even saw some contributions last year from Brandon Eccles in a reserve role where he made some plays. So if you're just doing corner, I think it's A+. I think it's interesting to combine safety with corner to see how that affects the grade. How confident are you in the Jets safety room? Let's hear that.
Yeah. So corners is an A+++, as many plus you could add. It's the best corner room in the NFL. I'll live and die on that forever. Michael Carter is probably the most underrated player in the NFL. I will always stand by that. Nickel is the hardest position to play besides quarterback. You have to guard guys they have a 3-way go, left, right options. It's so hard to play nickel, and Michael Carter has been unbelievable for us. So yeah, once you add in Tony Adams and Chuck Clark, maybe it goes down to an A-, just because I would give them a B, probably, that safety tandem. Chuck Clark, you're just worried about coming off an injury and being a bit older. I liked what we saw from Tony Adams last year. Neither of them are like big contributions, in my opinion, or big playmakers. They're both just steady. And again, you hope the corners lift them up, and I think they will. So I think a guy like Chuck Clark will be able to excel in this offense, this defense. And as a strong safety, he's going to be in the box a lot, so you want him to be good in run support, which he's been good at his whole career. And then we re-signed Ashton, who could definitely like vie for some playing time. He really showed out when he was on the field last year as like a big playmaker. The plays that come to mind, the safety against, I think it was the Dolphins, where he just ran over a guy and then him and Quinnen trucked another offensive lineman back into the running back for safety. He had multiple interceptions. So I think those three I do like. I don't know how they feel about Bernard Converse. I don't know much about him. But Ashton's a really good depth piece. I think that was an underrated re-signing for sure.
100%. I would think maybe we could see the kid they drafted that has the unbelievable story from the Fan Football League and the CFL. Maybe Quantez Stiggers could play a role in this secondary. I don't know if they see him as a true corner or they see him maybe as a safety hybrid. He's listed as a corner behind DJ Reed on the depth chart right now, but we'll see. I think the safety room is probably the weak link on defense if you isolated a room. That being said, I don't think it's a weakness. I think Tony Adams will get better in year 2. I also think, or year 3 actually for Tony Adams. I also think we're going to see probably a much more steady play opposite Tony Adams, because I think Chuck Clark's a better player than Jordan Whitehead. I like Jordan. I met him personally. Couldn't have been nicer. I just think, Chuck Clark's a really good player. I think we're going to get a chance to see it now. Yeah.
Obviously, you said Whitehead, a great person, I'm sure, just had a lot of trouble in coverage last year and with the missing tackles. A little bit of an X factor here. I don't think he's going to end up getting burned, but I like Jalen Key from Alabama. I think that was a really good pick in the 7th round. Anytime you get a secondary player from Bama, I love it because Saban uses all the NFL terminology. So they're really well-versed. They're always high IQ guys. Joe Blewett was putting out a bunch of film on him that I really liked. Maybe he could see some time, but he's another depth piece that'll play on specials. But keep an eye out for him. I think that kid has some potential to be a starting safety for us down the line.
100%. 100%. All right. Special teams, Andrew. I don't really need to show you the special teams here. Punter, kicker. We'll throw the long snapper in there, baby. Thomas Hennessy, give us the breakdown on special teams.
Short and sweet. We re-signed Greg the Leg. He was as good of a kicker that you could find in the NFL last year. Morstead was also awesome. That group's an A. That group's really good. And yeah, they kicked the ball well. We lost Justin Hardy, which people were like a little upset about as our gunner. Gunners usually need a guy that's athletic, that's going to be able to sprint downfield and make a play. I think Irvin Charles is more than capable at doing that. Maybe Brownlee will get some reps there, but punter kicker wise, it's an A. It's Zerline was unbelievable last year, and I don't see any reason why he wouldn't be the same this year. Yeah,
as you said, the only concern is they lost Hardy. Is Herb Charles ready for that role, or is it somebody else? But that's it. I mean, Morstead was a huge priority re-sign. Zerline, same thing, and you expect those guys to be great because they've been great since they've been Jets.
For sure.
All right, let's open it up now. Comments, questions, super chats. Will in fact cut the line. Great job by Andrew giving grades and analysis on every single position group, baby. That is what we love about this show. All right, first up on the hotline, everyone's favorite, Gary. What's up, Gary?
What's going on, Jake? I just put in my order for my Tony Adams jersey. So hopefully, is that too random of a jersey, Tony Adams? Is that a good call?
Look, Tony Adams is a really cool guy, like personally, like a nice guy. No one's going to have that. Everyone's going to think like, so you go ordered a Jamal Adams jersey and they mistakenly put, 22 on it instead of, 32.
That was my concern, is that people's going to think it's a Jamal Adams jersey, but it's the new one
though. So you'll get away with it.
It can't be, right? I don't want people saying, oh, Jamal Adams. No, not Jamal Adams. Also this morning, my sincerest apologies. I have a son who's severely on the autism spectrum. He's nonverbal. That screech you heard from him was his meltdown. I had no idea. I had stayed in the green room. I sincerely apologize.
No,
to me,
fine.
It's just like Friday, but like hearing it from your like on the playback, it sounds like somebody got murdered, doesn't it? It's like, what is that?
Well, I wasn't going to go murder, but it did sound like something had happened. So I'm glad everything's okay.
It's fine. I have a son who's nonverbal who has meltdowns. I heard it back. I was like, I had no idea it sounds that bad to like the outside world. But it's all good.
Who had a bigger meltdown, your son earlier or you draft night when the Jets chose lineman over Bowers?
Okay, so this meltdown was bigger than that meltdown, but the Zach Wilson draft day meltdown was king of all meltdowns. That draft pick made me reprioritize my life, right? I had screamed at my TV for about 3 hours. I snapped at my wife, snapped at my kids, and I lost my voice from screaming at the TV.
How could you be that mad by then? It was so obvious they were taking him for months already.
Because I knew he was that bad. Like, it wasn't like I knew, like, people say Zach Wilson is a bust. No, he's not. It's exactly what he was. Like, Zach Wilson performed exactly as I expected him to perform. And
how's Caleb Williams? Still a third-round talent?
You want an NFL comp for Caleb Williams?
I do, actually, yes. Save the tape,
Justin
everyone.
Fields, except Justin Fields is bigger, stronger, and faster. So what is that? Like, if you redrafted the draft, where would you take Justin Fields? Third round?
I don't see that comp, to be honest with you.
I got a comp for you, and I didn't mean this to be insulting to Jaden Daniels. I meant it as a real comp. Tyrod Taylor. I got a friend who's a Washington fan, and he's like, "Why are you hating him?" I'm like, I didn't think that I was. Yeah, if you take Tyrod Taylor number 2 overall, that's overdrafting him. But like, he's not that bad. I don't think I wasn't saying it to hate on Tyrod Taylor. I think that's a fair comp for Jaden Daniels.
All right.
It's just like I'm not commenting.
You're not gonna touch that? Is that too low for Jaden Daniels?
I hate doing comps. Like, I think it's so stupid. But no, it's fine. I don't like Jaden Daniels that much as a prospect, but I don't know.
The last thing I wanted to ask you guys was about my boy Xavier Gibson from Woodrow Wilson High School in Dallas. Is he going to make the team? Because I want to get a Gibson jersey, but I'm going to wait on him to make sure he makes the team. Is he going to make the squad?
I think he'll make the team, yes.
Yes.
Okay. Andrew?
Yeah, he's going to make the team. Yeah.
Okay. And the last thing is, have you done a film review on Taylor? If not, I'm not trying to give you homework, and I'm not trying to tell Jake how to do the show, but could we get a film review on Tyrod Taylor if you haven't done one already?
Yeah, we could definitely do that. I've watched a bunch of him like throughout his career. he's a really steady guy. That's why I don't really see. I mean, again, he's 14 years in the league. Jaden Daniels, you have no idea if he's going to play 20 years or 4 years. So it's hard to comp that. Tyrod's just so steady. But yeah, we could definitely do a film review on him for sure.
That's all I got. Appreciate the time.
Joe Douglas should have been fired 2 days before he was hired.
The great Gary checking in, folks. For those who caught the first show, I'm glad we figured out that no one was actually murdered in the Gary household. That's good to know. Because my show would have been like an eyewitness. Like it would have been a part of like the crime scene investigation. Would have been broadcasted live. Zach writes that if you guys don't smash the like button, Jake will cry. I don't know if I'll cry, but I'll be deeply disappointed in the 250 of you tuned in live right now. You know what? We're gonna do a back-to-back of Asmaniac arch nemesis. You ready? JJ up next. Hello, JJ.
Yo, what's up, guys? I think this is the first time I ever got on with Mr. Andrew, so nice to meet you. Real quick, I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on this. So you know what? I think, and this is probably a crazy hot take, but I think Breece Hall probably is going to be the most valuable player that we have on the team next year. More valuable than Sauce, more valuable than Garrett Wilson. If we do what we should do and just heavy dose of Breece every game, I mean, I think this team can go places. And the reason I'm saying he's the most valuable is because he can run the ball. He can catch the ball. His pass protection isn't awful. I mean, it's not as good as some other guys in the league, but I think we have to lean heavily on Breece, even more so than we do with Garrett Wilson on the offensive side. What do you guys think about that?
Go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, I think Breece is going to be 20-plus touches a game every single game this year. And I do think that minus Rodgers, he's one of the more valuable players. Obviously, I think Tyron Smith's going to be more valuable just as like a pass protector in the run game. But yeah, Breece is like, as a skill player, is probably number one. I think you could definitely make an argument for that.
Mr. Jake?
I said earlier, I think Breece Hall might win Offensive Player of the Year. Like I think he's that special, and I think because there's no inning limits on him or pitch counts, whatever they're going to call it for the football term again. Like I expect him to go out there and dominate right away because they need him to, right? I don't think you want to ask Aaron Rodgers. Even he might be able to do it, but I don't think you want to have him throw 40-plus times in all these games. Like they should be a ball control, ground and pound offense. They drafted 2 running backs. They're changing to a gap scheme, as Andrew covered earlier. Like Breece Hall should be the best offensive player on this team this year.
Yeah, and I think like I'm not a huge Garrett Wilson fan. Like I think he's really good, but I still don't know if he's a true number one yet. I still don't know if he's a true.
No. I would ignore that part for a second.
Hold on.
I'm not a big Garrett Wilson fan just came out of your mouth.
Well, because Garrett Wilson does and this is me nitpicking, and I know I'm the negative caller. This is me nitpicking, but I don't like his run after the catch ability that he's shown so far. He's very loose with the football, the way he holds the football out. Andrew, you pull up the film, you can do a whole film breakdown. He runs with the ball in one hand, holding it like it's like a I don't even know what it rubs me the wrong way, and it makes me really nervous. And we've seen him fumble once or twice. And it's just it's weird the way he runs with the ball his run after the catch is weird. And I don't know if he's a true number one. Now I like him. I'm glad he's on our football team, but there's a reason.
Like him.
No, I said I'm not a huge fan of him.
That to me is crazy. The only thing you're right about is he does need to take better care of the ball. He had a couple fumbles last year, but that's not enough to sit here and try and nitpick a guy who won Offensive Rookie of the Year with the worst quarterback situation in the league.
I'm not. I just told you I'm nitpicking. I'm saying I don't know if he's a true number one because he's not like the guys that we see with the Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase. He's not one of those. He's not in that tier. He's a
so
tier
where would you rank
that.
him? So is he a top 10 receiver?
Yeah, I would say he's shown top 10 capability, but we haven't seen him with a We haven't seen him with a real quarterback yet to see what he can really do.
Let me ask you a question. How many NFL teams are there?
32.
So if he's a top 10 wide receiver and there's 32 teams and there's 2 starting receivers, mostly 3 now, if you count the slot guy for every team, how is a guy at the top 10 of his position not considered a number one wide receiver?
would you agree there's different levels to this?
Yeah, I'm not saying he's the best receiver in the league,
That's not
but
the
I think.
point.
What is your point?
I was just mentioning that the reason I think Brees is more valuable is because I have questions about Garrett Wilson. That's all I was saying. But the other thing, you can argue with me on this. I really want you to go listen to what Buffalo Jets fans said, because you brought up all the old tweets, but he just put up a video yesterday where he was kind of ripping Robert Saleh and saying he's a defensive coordinator. The team was the most penalized in the league last year, and they've continued to be undisciplined, uncompetitive. We got blown out in a lot of games, and he gave him a C-. I wasn't trying to argue with you. I was shocked that the Buffalo Jets went that hard on him, and I just wanted your opinion on it. So when you get a chance, you should watch the video, because he graded Saleh at a C-, and he's been very fair on Saleh, but I don't know, the video he posted the other day or yesterday, he was very hard on him. So I just wanted your opinion on that.
Well, I haven't seen the video, but Buffalo Jet fan joins us every week, so he'll join us next week and we could talk about it. But like he's kind of where I'm at with Saleh. I don't know if I'd grade a C+, C-. I said incomplete or C+ would be my grade for Saleh. We're not really that far off. My defense of Saleh is more so the people who are in love with Douglas and then blame Saleh for all the faults. That a lot of it has way more to do with the roster construction, aka the quarterback situation, than the head coach. The head coach is not perfect. He's got to learn from these last couple of years. I believe he will, and I think Aaron Rodgers will also make him look like a pretty good coach when they have a functional offense for the first time in his tenure.
I got you. Well, I just want to end on this before you guys go crazy. Garrett Wilson.
Oh God, what happened? JJ, we'll see you later. I hope everything's okay. I mean, I don't even want to acknowledge his Garrett Wilson point. I mean, you talk about, and he said he's nitpicking, but like he said the word, I'm not a fan of Garrett Wilson. He said that. That came out of his mouth.
Yeah. What? Let's see what they say about Garrett after this year. Just wait. I'm telling you, they're gonna talk about him like he's a top 7 receiver in the NFL. So let him have a real quarterback.
Did JJ get pulled over there?
I don't know. I mean, he was in the car and then got out.
JJ? You there, JJ? This is the freeze frame I have off air. Something happened to JJ, folks. Don't know what happened. Jetted Out says, put him in the box. I'm not going to put him in the hole for 24 hours for that take, but it's close.
Yeah.
Day Boss and Asmaniac for 8 months. I don't care if Garrett runs with the ball in his mouth. Well, I mean, he's Garrett Wilson. I feel like I don't. The least of my concerns is trying to defend Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, that's the last thing that we need to be talking about, really.
All right, Andrew, you got time for one more call with you, and I'll stay on for the rest?
Yeah, I got some time.
All right, this is like your new best friend who we're going to go to right now. So, folks, buckle up and sing along.
Well, you know I love to talk and hate to tell you, Jake. When is your next show? Alan is a cartoon character. Bobby. Andrew, how you doing, my buddy? Thank you for having me on with Andrew. Hey, Andrew, that kid is younger than you. You know that. The other kid.
Okay.
Show,
yeah. It looked like he was. You're right.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw him one time before. I kind of interviewed another X Factor on his show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I agree with all your grades for the Jets, and I told Jake they're going to be 12-5. They're going to win the Super Bowl this year, right, Jake? And
I hope so.
And then I turned to be a Jet fan. You know that, right?
When did you make the change?
Well, yesterday, because I cried yesterday, right, Jake?
You were very emotional, Bob.
I know. I get excited when I talk to big people like that. He makes me happy. And I cried. I actually shed a tear, really. Remember, right, Jake?
100%.
It's real nice to me. And then King Noski was very happy that I'm a Jet fan.
Bobby, yeah, I believe your jet hat has arrived today, by the way.
Oh, it has?
Yeah, go check the mail.
Okay, once I finish the call, I'll check it.
All right.
So how you know it came? How you know it came?
Akeem? Who's Akeem?
No, how do you know it came?
How you know it came to my house?
Oh, because I got the email notification.
Oh, good. Okay, I'll check it out as soon as I finish talking to Andrew. I'm sorry. Then I wear it tomorrow. You're gonna have a show on tomorrow, right?
Oh yeah.
I'll introduce it tomorrow with Jets. Nothing, but I still like my Yankees. Andrew, are you a Yankee fan too?
Yeah, I'm not that
And-
big into baseball, but bigger into
Oh.
like the Knicks and obviously the Jets.
And the Knicks are gonna kick ass tonight against the smelly Pacers.
I hope so, man.
Let's take care
Bobby,
of-
the chat is demanding you to go check the mail right now.
No, not yet. No, I'm not finished talking to Andrew.
We'll put you back on. We'll put you back on with the hat if it's there.
Okay, all right, let's do that. Okay, put somebody else on then.
All right, go check the mail, Bobby. Everyone's saying he's the best. Peter's watching the show. The great Peter Castro. Andrew, what's your take on Hackett?
I mean, I'm trying to. We just graded the team out. Almost everyone got A's. The Knicks are about to play tonight. I don't want to think about Nathaniel Hackett, but yeah. Oh man, I don't want to think about him. I'm not a fan. Not a fan of Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. All right, let's go to Rob, the Jet fan. Hello, Rob.
Hey guys, how's it going? How you doing, Andrew?
Good. How about you?
Good, my friend. Good. I will say about the JJ call, Jake and Andrew. What I will agree with JJ is, I think it's pretty obvious that Brees is our most talented offensive player. Okay, and I don't think many people would disagree. He's like, you could already say that Brees is top 3 in running backs already. He's that special. As far as Garrett Wilson, I'm in agreement with Jake. I think he's top 10 already, in lieu of the quarterbacks that he had to get the ball thrown to. Like, come on. Look who's throwing him the ball. Like, we don't have to discuss the quarterbacks. But I think the ceiling on Brees is a lot higher than Garrett Wilson. I just think that he's that special of a player. He's just so freaking good. And stays healthy this year, he might, total yards combined, he might hit 2,000 yards this year. I would not be shocked. That's how special of a player Brees is. And again, it's not a diminishing Garrett in any way, because I think he's a special player too. But I think by far Brees is our most talented offensive player by far. What do you think, Andrew?
Like, it's hard for me to talk about. I don't value the running back position that highly. I don't, and as like the NFL doesn't really either, as you see with all the contracts. I think Brees is like a one of a kind type of guy in like the McCaffrey lens, where he could be used in many different ways. It's not just that he's a running back. I was begging for them to use him all over the field last year, and he had a huge play in that Browns Thursday night football game when they lined him up and they just ran a little mesh play with him and got him the ball in a shallow cross. Yeah, that's why I don't think Brees is like unbelievably more valuable than anyone else on the offense, because I value like Tyron Smith like on the same level as Brees, obviously Rodgers. But besides them two, I think it's Brees. I think Brees is the most talented skill player we have, as you said.
Yeah, I do. And again, it's not a knock on Garrett Wilson, because I love Garrett Wilson.
Right.
Unlike Jay, I think he's already a top 10, like Jake said. I agree with you, Jake. He is top 10.
Well, JJ said he was top 10, and then we're saying he's not a number 1. So by the very definition of just math, he has to be a number 1 receiver.
Yeah. Has to be. That doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, he obviously is a number 1 if he's top 10. And okay, you could nitpick and say that he held the ball a little loosely and he had a couple fumbles last year, but that's teachable stuff. It's not like they can't teach him how to fix that.
He's the first player in franchise history to have 1,000 yards in their first 2 seasons, and he's done it with 8 different quarterbacks, all range from below average to maybe average at best in spots to historically inept. Like, What are we doing? We're spending way too much time debating Garrett Wilson. He's the least of their problems.
It's ridiculous because Keyshawn Johnson was a #1 pick overall, and his first year he barely touched 1,000 yards. This guy has done it 2 years in a row, and he's done it with horrible quarterback play. I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer.
Now, Rob, the question is, who was that calling you, and was that your hot date for this evening?
Jake, no, unfortunately, that was just a friend. But at lunchtime, I did go out with a girl. We went to Applebee's.
Oh,
it wasn't the girl that I met with. Not that I met with a meal that time. It was another girl. A girl named Holly.
A little Friday Applebee's lunch? Are you kidding me, Rob? That's awesome.
Yeah, a little lunch. She actually said, "Oh, I miss your face. Let's get together." I was like, she's a Jewish girl, really pretty girl, nice. We worked together at Henry Schein. We worked at Henry Schein for years and stuff, and every so often, we hang out and stuff. And she's a cool girl. There's another girl that I like better right now. I mean, her name is Maria. She's an Italian girl. I mean, I kind of have the hots for her. I'm kind of going after her right now. This other girl.
Rob,
to be honest.
are you sure? Are you sure you should be broadcasting this, like using their names?
I'm going to be on the Discord. I know it. I mean, you're right. I got to keep my mouth shut. You're right.
I mean, Bonesy got recognized at the grocery store yesterday. This show has made our callers famous. You got to be careful.
I don't mind being famous like that. It's kind of cool when people know you. And aren't you on that show with that guy Jake? I love it. I love it. You gotta love it.
Well, Rob, I hope it goes well with these two women, man. You're a ladies' man.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm gonna hook you up one day, buddy.
Rob, we appreciate the time. What a call. How about that?
Look at Rob with the options.
How about the Friday Applebee lunch date?
That's legendary. That's the first time I've heard that one.
Applebee's will have a special place in my heart. I love half-price abs after 10. It's also the reason why I had the freshman 45 back in my Ithaca college days.
Yo, endless. Isn't it endless apps or is that TGI Fridays?
I think that's TGI Fridays. Bees is half-priced apps. We used to go all the time in high school and college.
Yeah. That's great stuff.
Yep. Also, here's a message. Aaron just texted me this, our quarterback. Here you go, Rob, for you.
Hey, congrats on the sex.
All right. Well, Bobby never came back, Andrew, so I'm going to let you go because I was hoping he'd come back with his hat, but he's still not back, so I don't want to take up all your time.
I could wait I could definitely wait like 5 more minutes. If I could wait a bit.
All right, if you don't mind waiting. I just don't want to hold you up. Let's keep rolling with the calls right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we heard from Gary. We heard from JJ. So we now need to hear from this villain of the program, Alan. Hello, Alan.
Hey, what's going on? Andrew, first time calling. I actually appreciate all your work. Really do. But I do have a couple of questions. First of all, I do not understand your B grade for the safeties. You got to explain that one to me. Because to me, the safety group is the worst group of our on our roster. I think it's a C minus. You see, I know you like Tony Adams. I saw him out of position a lot last year, and I worry about Chuck Clark coming off an injury. So can you just explain to me the B grade?
Yeah, I think I was thinking more in the sense of they're not going to be prioritizing the defense to be making big plays. When you have the cornerbacks that we do, it's kind of like you just need average safety play. So I was almost thinking of like how well they need to play. I do kind of agree with you. Like if you just look at it just at the lens of Chuck Clark, Tony Adams, Ashton Davis, it's probably like a C. Like it's probably like an average group. But I think that they could be elevated to like a B type of grade with the cornerbacks that are surrounded by them.
I also worry about the linebacking crew. I know that a lot of people love Quincy Williams. He's so fast. He still makes a couple of mistakes that you wonder how he misses tackles. My problem is with CJ Mosley. He's a guy I think who's getting a little long on the tooth. I know he played well last year, but I worry about him in big spots against top tight ends or even guys coming out of the backfield. That's why I don't like our depth at linebacker. I know people still think that Sherwood's a guy who could take the next step. I really wish they could have added a really good young linebacker in the draft. So where do you see the linebacking crew going on this year, in your opinion?
Also, wait, Alan, how are you nitpicking Quincy Williams? He was first team All Pro last year. Like the tackle stuff you bring up, that was like when he first got to the Jets. You saw the raw talent, but he didn't harness it yet.
I like Quincy Williams, but there are times he makes mistakes. He misses tackles in big spots. I like Quincy Williams.
I can't think of one game last year where he missed a tackle in a big spot.
The Buffalo game in Buffalo, he missed a couple of big tackles in that game.
I don't remember that specific play you're referring to. I'll take your word for it. But like my big thing is by that point in the year, that was when the dam broke that game, when the offense once again did nothing. And then they were playing uncharacteristic, right? You saw Sauce try and chase an interception instead of playing his assignment. And then they got beat deep and the floodgates opened that day. Like that to me is what that game was. I almost throw that game out as like, we were waiting for this. I thought it was going to happen, 8 weeks prior because of what the defense was being asked to do every week. But yeah, I mean, if that's your only issue with Quincy Williams, he's pretty damn good.
I think he's a very good player. I worry more about Mosley. I think he's a guy that I think is going to struggle a little bit more this year. He's past his 30 age, and I don't think that we have enough depth at the linebacker position. I'm not a Zaire Barnes fan, and I don't really think much of Chaz Surratt. And I expected by year 3, year 4 that I expect a little bit more from Jamie and Sherwood. So I wish we added another young linebacker on this crew. That's why.
That's fair. I still think their linebacker room is among the best in the league, though, when you talk about C.J. Mosley and Quincy. Also, Mosley's not as fast as he once was. He's one of the smartest players this team has ever had, and he's the captain of the defense. He gets them lined up in position. His value is felt even on plays he's not involved in.
Yeah, completely agree. And then, again, I know how I feel about PFF. Not the biggest fan of it, but I was just looking when he said that at the coverage grades for linebackers last year, 1 and 2, C.J. Mosley, Quincy Williams, top 2 in the NFL. So, like, maybe you don't love PFF grades, but that says something. Like, so Fred Warner 6th and Roquan Smith 7th. So then it validates the thought process more for me. I'm not that worried about our linebackers. I'm not.
All right, moment of truth. Bobby, where is the new Jet hat?
Hey, I went to the front of my apartment building. Like I always tell them, they'll deliver in the back where my apartment is. I'm in the back. No box in the back here. I went in the front. No box there.
Uh-oh. Well,
I don't know where my jet hat is.
They got to find it. It says order delivered.
Well, they put that on everything. I get delivered and I get half getting, but they don't.
13:50 local time, Friday, May 17th.
Well, they're wrong.
You got to go give your building a piece of your mind, Bobby. They're claiming it was delivered.
Well, the stupid people who deliver it to, I told them, come to the back where I live, not the front door, because somebody lives there and nobody is home right now. But I went to the front, no box there. I got your umbrella. I got your New York Yankee hat. They were delivered to the back end.
Well, Bobby, there has to be something that you could do. I'm sure they'll find it.
I'll check. I'll call. What do you deliver? FedEx or UPS?
Let's check here. This looks like this was delivered via UPS.
Okay, I'll call them up after I finish. Find out.
To Brattleboro, Vermont.
That's where I live in the Boondocks. No, well, they call it a city, which is smelly. And I heard Rob went on his date. He went on his date.
He went to Applebee's, Bobby.
Rob. Remember the Ground Round? Do you guys know the Ground Round?
The Ground Round?
It's a restaurant in New York, Long Island. Like, you always had it in Long Island. Ground Round. You never heard of the Ground Round?
No, I think it might be before my time.
Oh, man. See how old I am? Oh, where did he take the girl? Applebee's.
They went to Bees.
I like. My daughter loves Applebee's.
Yeah.
When she wants to go out, take her probably graduation day. I take her out. Applebee's.
Bobby, what did you think of the fact Rob's got not one but 2 ladies he's currently dating?
Ooh, what a stud muffin! I call him a stud muffin. And how about what you think about the album, the cartoon character? What do you think about him? You got to show us cartoons for him, okay? Show Andrew a cartoon.
All right, Andrew, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, now see you later, Andrew. Bye, Jake.
All right, Bobby, thank you.
Yeah, Bobby.
All right, here we go. This is Bobby's favorite video I've ever played. Shout out to Gator.
Bobby, you're never going to be friends. I own you.
Hey, I really don't give crap, you cartoon character.
Bobby, I heard the emancipation papers were filed by your daughter. Is everything okay?
You're a jackass, you know that?
And go Celtics.
Oh, be quiet. Irritating like zit on your ass.
Oh man, Gator, always outdoing himself.
It's unbelievable. All right, Andrew, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for hanging out with us and enjoying a football Friday in May.
Yep. Let's go Knicks, and I'll talk to you guys next week.
Let's go, baby. Go New York. Go New York. Go.
Sir. Thanks, Jake.
Oh, Andrew, thank you. All right, let's rapid fire. I got a bunch of people on hold. Call wise, hit the like button if you're tuned in. Send a super chat if you want your voice heard. Earlier in the show, 25 memberships were gifted. Appreciate everyone. Mike V, turn your camera on. You would be up next. Jets Johnny, you would be up next. Your camera's also not on. Big fella's camera's on, so he'll cut the line. What's up, big fella?
Hey, what's up? For Bobby, sometimes the UPS guy, they say it's delivered, but they must be in the area. They're going to deliver it. So, keep an eye out for your hats. Now JJ, about talking crap about Garrett. You can say he likes him and everything. That's fine. But Garrett fumbled last year. He had an arm injury, if you remember. Remember when he threw that pass and it was like, and that lingered. And I always chalked up the fumbling for him not being able to hold on to the ball because of that injury.
Well, to be fair, though, I was at the game against the Chargers the previous week before that injury when he fumbled on like the first drive of the game or whatever it was when they were moving the ball a little bit. So look, I'm not criticizing Garrett Wilson. He's the best receiver this franchise has had since Brandon Marshall. He's unbelievable. Yeah. He might break every Jet receiver record if they make him a Jet for life, which I hope they do. The bottom line is this, though. If there's one area you want to slightly nitpick, sure, he needs to protect the ball a little better. But that doesn't negate his greatness we've seen on the field. Like, it's silly. Right. He's an amazing player. It's a small little thing that he could fix. He will fix.
Yeah, and I mean, the run after the catch thing, that's ridiculous.
That's silly.
That's
ridiculous.
You had to see the Dallas game. I mean, remember when he caught the ball and ran it all the way,
Or how about the Bears game when they had good, competent quarterback play from Mike White that day, and he had 2 unbelievable touchdowns, yards after the catch in that one.
Yeah. I mean, that's not nitpicking. That's just, not looking at reality. Now, as for like the weakness that I see on the Jets, I would have to agree with Allen with the linebackers.
Well, there's an injury, yeah, but I don't think it's a weakness.
That's my point.
We said this last year, though, when they actually stayed healthy. So hopefully, history can repeat itself.
Yeah, because like the safeties, from what I hear, that position isn't valued high in this system. So the linebackers, if we lose either Quincy or Mosley, I mean, we're in trouble. Zaire Barnes, Chaz Surratt, that's not really good depth. But that's just my 2 cents on that.
That's kind of the NFL, though. It's hard to have depth at every position. They prioritize depth on the offensive line, and rightfully so. Like, they prioritize depth on the defensive line, and rightfully so. You win in the trenches. Like, they prioritize spending. They maybe would have better linebacker depth if they didn't have to spend $9 million on Tyrod Taylor. They had no choice. This is where the salary cap, I joke it's fake, but this is where there are some limitations with how you roster construct. Like, you could keep your best players, but your depth's going to be tested because you screwed up the Zach Wilson situation so bad that now you had to pay $9 million for Tyrod Taylor, No,
I agree with you. I'm just saying that's the one place where I could see a potential weakness. That's all.
Yep, 100%. Good call, big fella. Let's go to Jiggy the Jet Man. And then we'll go to Jets, Johnny, and Bill. What's going on, Jiggy?
How you doing, man?
What's up, Jiggy? How are you? Yes, sir.
I'm good. But I just wanted to come on and talk about how everybody in the media keeps talking about Like Aaron Rodgers staying healthy and the team staying healthy, like that's not the rest of the AFC. I'm just talking about our division. Like Joe Burrow can't stay healthy really. Then you have Tua who just put together one healthy season and he's in the AFC East. We have a rookie quarterback in the Patriots and Drake May. And then Josh Allen, he's going to have to be running the ball a lot more. I don't think people are really talking about that. Like he doesn't have a very good core of receivers around him that he can really trust. And back in the day, he's used to try to be Superman with Stephon Diggs and Gabriel Davis. So I feel like he's going to try to do that more and end up kind of hurting himself. I'm not trying to put injuries out there, but like I feel like everybody's just talking about Aaron Rodgers staying healthy and not really looking at the AFC, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, we were guilty as Jet fans, I think, last year doing this, right? We talked about, oh, Tua can't stay healthy, Lamar, this and that. And then, you know, ironically, those were the only two big-time quarterbacks that made it through seemingly the whole year, right? So it's a year-to-year league, man. I mean, Aaron doesn't have an injury history. He's just an older quarterback. So you got to hope he stays healthy. And if he does, they have as good a chance as anyone. But I promise you, if Josh Allen got hurt or Mahomes got hurt or Burrow got hurt again, like they wouldn't be the same team either.
Exactly. And then I also wanted to bring up like the NFL and how they put the schedule together, kind of like knowing what they're doing. Yeah, they want to showcase Aaron Rodgers, but at the same time, like 3 back-to-back games in 10 days, they know what kind of turnaround that is for NFL players. And I kind of think like they're not caring for the Jets, but also want the Jets to be on display. So it's kind of like a up and down kind of thing, which I understand, but like you're making it harder for the Jets, but want them to be on television. You know what I'm saying? It kind of doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, but I also don't think like the schedule is that hard when you really think about it, you know? Like, good call, Jiggy. Call back. Like, I don't think when you look at the schedule, it's that difficult. They don't play a team once all year coming off their bye week. They don't play a team in prime time on the road besides 2 times all year. Their toughest game is week 1. It's already out of the way. Their 2 Thursday night games are at home. They get the mini bye each time after that. Their bye week is in the perfect spot in week 12. They finish the year at home against a warm weather team. I mean, they don't leave the New Jersey area from November 17th until December 8th. And really, if you think about it, after they play Arizona on the 10th, they come back on the 11th. They're in the New Jersey area without having to travel until December 8th. They got a month at home. Like, I don't subscribe to the schedule's too tough. Oh, the NFL hurt the Jet. They didn't. They put the Jets in a spot where they should be 4-1 or better going into Monday night against Buffalo on October 14th in week 6. That's how I look at the schedule. All right. Another long show. We went for 2 hours earlier, so we can't get to everyone, but we can get to Bill and Jets Johnny. So let's go to Jets Johnny, then Bill to wrap up here. What's up, Jets Johnny?
Jake, my brother, how you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, Johnny?
It's my first time calling in twice on the same day, so that's pretty cool. I think that's an accomplishment. But I wanted to talk about the schedule a little bit, but then JJ had me all messed up with his take about Garrett Wilson, man. I'm like, how you going to say this man is a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL, but not a number 1 wide receiver? That statement makes no sense whatsoever. That man should be in the shadow realm just for making that statement alone. But anyway, the schedule, I think everybody's overhyping how tough it is. We've all addressed it. The 49ers' toughest game out of the way. The next toughest game isn't until December when we play the Rams, in my opinion, because we get the Bills at home. Then we play the Bills on the road again late in the year. So we have all year to rack up victories. We should have plenty of them by the time we go into that game against the Rams and go to Buffalo. And then hopefully that Miami game is big so we can close it out at night and we make it into the playoffs. But I think everybody's overblowing how tough this schedule is, and we should breeze through it. I know I always say 20-0, but if I'm being realistic, I think maybe we drop 2-3 games at max. But unless the injury bug hits us. But if we're healthy all year, man, there's no reason why we shouldn't sail through everybody. JTS, Jets. Let's go, baby.
Hey, Johnny, I appreciate the call, man. Great call, great takes. To me, that's the biggest thing. It's the unknown with can guys stay healthy. Bill, wrap us up. What's up, Bill?
Hey, I'm sorry I missed Andrew because he was pressed for time, but I just hope JJ didn't get into an accident because he definitely dropped his phone while he was driving, and I'm pretty sure he probably pulled over when he tried to reach down for it. Otherwise, that'd be crazy if he's reaching for it while still driving. Um, as far as Garrett goes, Garrett, at the very least, definitely one of the top receivers in the league. Whether or not he's number one, obviously, is just a matter of opinion and statistics. But he made quite a few sensational catches during the course of the year. Part of it because the poor quarterback play, where he had to come back and make up for some bad throws by our quarterbacks. Obviously, when Rodgers comes in, Rodgers will probably set him up better so that not only will he be able to make the catch, but he'll be able to pick his own lane or lanes to run in. So as far as that goes, his yak ability, he definitely possesses it, despite what JJ may have said.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
it's silly, Bill, to nitpick Garrett Wilson. Silly. What are we doing? We spent way too much time on this. Thanks, JJ. But I do hope you're okay, JJ. Shoot us a message somewhere if you're alive and well, or you got pulled over or something happened. Big fella with a hot take. He super chatted it in. He says, hot take, we make the playoffs before the last Miami game. Yeah, if they have everything clinched before the last Miami game, then you're maybe playing for seeding the last game of the year. Is that for the division? Is that for the 1 seed? The 2? I don't know. I don't think it's the hottest of takes. If they're 12-5 and there are, let's say, 11-5 going into that last game, I don't think it's that hot of a take. All right, I said Bill was going to be the last call, but Mike's been on hold, but he hasn't figured out how to put his camera on until now. So, Mike, you are the last caller. What's going on, Mike?
Hey, how's it going, Jake?
What's up, Mike?
Just a quick question. All right, so we saw these grades on our team. Joe Douglas, what's his position? I mean, because at this point, I feel like he's done his job. And if the coaching staff fails, then the coaching staff fails at this point. And I know it's like, all right, playoffs are bust, but I just feel like he's done his job. How do you feel about that?
Well, I don't think he did his job last year or the year before. I mean, he's got to bear responsibility for why this team has missed the playoffs. He also hired the coaching staff, so he gets another chance to hire them. I think it really depends on how it looks. Like if they make the playoffs but get bounced early, like it's a clear coaching problem, but the talent's there. Maybe Douglas does survive. I think if they just go 7-10 or 8-9 or whatever, miss the playoffs, I don't know how you could justify keeping him and giving him a contract extension and allowing him to pick another coach.
I just look at it like, okay, you've had how many GMs and what's their percentage? What's their win percentage? I just think overall his win percentage has kind of been there. My fear is this. I've seen so many coaching staffs and GMs come and go. Do you trust our management or our ownership to do better than Joe Douglas has?
No, not necessarily, but because I actually think Joe Douglas is overall a pretty good GM, and I think that will bear out this year when they win games. But if these moves we look at on paper actually end up being bad moves, then I don't know if you could justify it. He hasn't won enough. That's the reality. Like his first year, they were 7-9. It wasn't his team. They tore it down. I won't count 2-14 either. The last 3 years they've won 4 games, then 7, then 7. That's not winning enough, you know.
But he doesn't play the games, and I'll give you the fact that he didn't do enough as far as backup QB last year or things like that. But I think where the team was when he took over in cap hell, basically got them out of cap hell, stripped it down, rebuilt it to a caliber we have now. And we're looking at these grades. And I'm just saying, when you look at every position group, he has put them in a position to be successful. And it's really now up to the coaching staff. When you're trying to build a culture, I think he's done that what I'm saying is if the coaching staff fails, is it all on the GM?
Well, he hired the coaching staff though.
He
So does
helped,
it?
but it's not just him. It is it's also ownership that's hiring. So
but it was his decision, Mike. He was they stayed out of his way and let him lead the coaching search. That was his doing.
I get it, but I don't know if I trust our ownership to do better. Is my point.
You shouldn't, but that doesn't mean that you don't try to do better. Like, you know what I mean? Like James Dolan actually got it right. He hired Leon Rose, who was a former agent who had no executive experience
I could just
before.
see the Charlie Casserly coming back in to help me hire a new GM thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
I
really,
get it.
seriously?
No, Mike, I totally see your point. I don't think
Listen,
you're
I've been
crazy
a
for bringing
Jet
this
fan
up.
since I was 7, which is going back prior to the Super Bowl that we won. All right, I'm 63. It's like I've seen this happen over and over and over. You're going through it now for how long? It's like I just feel like our GMs are very far and few between that we've had decent. I just think he's done enough. And I like the direction that he's going. And I just don't know if you tear it all down from the GM down or just the coaching staff is my point.
Let's see how the year plays out, Mike. Excellent call. Call back anytime. Glad we got your camera situation figured out. I think it comes down to what it looks like, right? Is it clear that the coaching is the problem, and are you willing to give Douglas another chance? It might be easy. It's like, go hire Mike Vrabel. Done. He's available next year. So you make fair points. I'm not exonerating Joe Douglas because the team looks really good this year. It should be really good this year. He's in his 6th year as Jets GM. I won't count the first year. He got hired in June. So it's his 5th full year with a drafted free agency. It is time. All right. It's not just Zach Wilson he missed on. We could go through some of the free agent signings. We could go through some of the other draft picks like Mekhi Becton that didn't work out, or Elijah Moore that didn't work out, or Denzel Mims. We could go through some of the other moves like Laken Tomlinson and CJ Uzama. And look at the dead cap is $54 million this year. I say this and I'm a Douglas fan. He's done more good than bad. I've defended him, but I'm not going to blindly defend him. I got to see how the year plays out. That's where I'm at. Thanks to Andrew Fialkow, who joined the show. Tremendous to have him on. We gave you a ton of content today, Jet fans. My plan is to give you a show either tomorrow or Sunday, most likely tomorrow, because Sunday I'm making my hosting debut on SiriusXM's NFL Radio from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And I already booked my first guest for that show, Herm Edwards. Coach Herm, hello. You play to win the game. Will be joining me at 11:30 a.m. on NFL Radio this Sunday on Sirius. So be on the lookout for that. I end the show by saying, let's go, Knicks. Let's go, Knicks. Go, New York. Go, New York. Go. Knicks fans, enjoy the game. I'll talk to you guys soon. JETS. Jets, Jets, Jets.
Andrew Fialkow is on hold. So let's go to Andrew, who's up next. Hello, Andrew.
Hey, Jake. The chat keeps blowing up with these Zach Wilson truthers, so I want to show you some film on this guy to help tell the story. Okay, let's start with this pass to Garrett Wilson. Here's against the Bills. You can see if I stop it here. Zach has a clear shot at Garrett with nobody in his face. Play it forward a bit. Garrett is fighting off the defender here, but single coverage. Stopping here, you see how even a 6-year-old blind albino alligator could have thrown this in a better spot. Thank God, Garrett is a friggin' stud as he makes the catch, allowing Zach to celebrate like he helped the team win a Super Bowl. Here, Garrett tells the ref, hey, ref, did you see how fucking horrible that throw was and I still caught it? Disgusting. One more film breakdown here as we see Zach returning from the sideline, unable to navigate himself with any success, back to the huddle. Thankfully, his teammates were there to help him up off the ground, but unfortunately for Zach, they chose to not help him. Zach's ass had a large bruise that took a while to heal, although his mom's friend gave him some aloe to rub on the buttocks, and that helped a little. Next week, I'll have a full film breakdown of Cole Thompson's scooter crash from the combine. Thanks for having me, Jake. Gator sucks.
Oh my God. Well, thank you for that film breakdown, Andrew.
Dude.
Great job.
I was waiting. I was like, one day I've seen those before. I'm like, Gators got to get me one on more of these. Oh, Gator. That was damn good.